AITA for not moving from my booked seat for an elderly person? I, 32F, recently got a train across the UK from London to Aberdeen. It's a 7-hour journey, so I booked myself a first-class seat well in advance. First-class seats on trains in the UK can be expensive, but I decided to treat myself because I was making the journey the day after returning from a 2-week-long work trip abroad, and I knew I'd be exhausted, totally unable to function. I knew I'd have work to do on the train, so I wanted to make sure I had space, comfort to be able to work. On certain trains in the UK, the first-class carriages have individual seats, which means you're not sitting next to or sitting opposite anyone. The space is entirely your own and you can spread out over the little table. I specifically booked one of those seats to enable me to work. I got on the train at London and sat in my seat. The seat they'd assigned me was also the priority seat. Priority seats are the ones at the end of carriages for people with mobility issues due to age or disability, etc. A woman got on after me who was around 60 years old and pointed at the sign above my head and, quite rudely, told me to move because she was elderly. I told her I'd booked the seat and she'd need to speak to a member of staff to find her one. She pointed out that the train was full, even first class was full, and there were no other seats. I apologized but reiterated that I'd booked the seat and wasn't going to move. Eventually, a train guard came over to try to help. The lady had booked a return ticket, but she hadn't reserved a specific seat. For those who don't know how trains work in the UK, if you have an open ticket and haven't also booked a seat reservation, it means you can travel on any train, but you aren't guaranteed a seat unless there's one available. He asked if either of us would consider moving to standard class if he could find us a seat. I again refused, explaining I'd booked the seat well in advance and that I needed it. He asked if anyone in the rest of first class would mind changing, and no one agreed. Eventually he took the woman to standard class and I assume found her a seat there. I felt bad, but I also don't think I needed to put myself in severe discomfort because someone else didn't think ahead and reserve a seat. AITA? Edit. Since it's apparently not clear, at no point was I aware this was a priority seat before getting on the train. The train company are the assholes here. They sold the disability seats as the most expensive seats on the train. Then they tried to get the person who bought those seats to move to standard. Those seats should never be sold unless the occupier is disabled. That's on the train operator. It's not on you. NTA edited to add, I looked at a random time in a few weeks for London to Aberdeen trains. There was a standard price. Then it was plus 120 for first class. Then if you wanted the individual option in first class, it was another 50. The woman was for thinking she was entitled to your reserved seat though. Elderly or not, you paid in advance and shouldn't have to move just because she showed up. Absolutely. It's up to train staff to sort it out at that stage. Plus she could have booked a seat herself. And 60 isn't exactly ancient. As someone that travel long haul on trains once a month, London to Newcastle, I can tell you very loudly. NTAI used to do the standard trip and it was a misery. I now do the first class journey and 3 to 4+ hours traveling. It makes a huge difference. You booked your seat, it's your seat, and the fact nobody else wanted to give up their seat proves you are not alone. Although it really bums for the lady, it's not your fault that the railway assigned you a priority seat. They shouldn't assign those seats anyway, simple. NTA. The train company is the asshole. The train company is always the asshole. Until they change this insane policy, these incidents are going to happen again and again. You are not obligated to do so, but if you would like to do something to prevent others from suffering these situations, please complain in writing to the company about how uncomfortable this incident made you, Because their policy of assigning priority seating to paying customers makes you feel like they do not care about their customers who pay for seats, or their customers who are vulnerable. The next time it happens, stand your ground again, but encourage the other person to complain, too. Until they are deluged with complaints and threats to move your business to whatever competitors are available, this bullshit will never change. Again, you are not obligated to do this, and the fault here is not yours. But if you're posting here, I think maybe you are worried about having done something shitty, and this should hopefully help balance the karmic scales in your favor.